shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it. So we do know what that means. Neither shall you diminish aught from it means don't change it. Neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep my commandments, the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. Who's Moses? Commanding them. That's who I am. I command you. He is commanding Levi. Because there's something that we're going to learn as this teaching goes forth. Levi is the one who keeps the commandments of God. They are the ones that make the sacrifice. They are the ones that go before God. They are the ones that call on God for you. They are his great nation. Oh, we're going to get on down into this. Verse 3. Your eyes have been what the Lord, your eyes have seen what the Lord did because of Baalspar, which I don't know if that's pronounced right or not. Baalspar, whatever. For all the men that followed Baalspar, the Lord thy God hath destroyed them from among you. Now, a lot of y'all don't know this story because I didn't know that much about it. Of course, we had read it, but we didn't know exactly what was going on. So I'm going to take you back to over to chapter 4 in Deuteronomy, which I am in. We're dealing with these men, and these men in Baalspar, this was a god or whatever, and they worshipped him, they followed them, they gave up the wonderful commandments of God to follow another god. So he says, for all the men that follow Baalspar, the Lord thy God hath destroyed them from among you. So they're gone. They're gone. When you start all that, back when we were together as a people, all of us, and you start all that worshiping other gods, God would get rid of your ass. He'd just eliminate you. 4. But ye that did cleave unto the Lord your God are alive, every one of you, this day. So when he says this day, that means right then and now while Moses is talking to him, because this was a previous event that took place in Baalspar when the men did this. And now they're the ones that have come forth were the ones that obey God. Verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord your God commanded me. So, private conversation with Moses and God. Then God commanded Moses to go down here and tell Levi, private conversation between him and Levi, the laws and the statutes, the judgments, the statutes and judgments and commandments. That ye should do so in the land, whether ye go to possess it. So he's telling the tribe of Levi that they're going to do these things. They're going to keep these statutes and commandments and law, governs and laws and all these things when they get into this promised land. Now, how we're going to get to the promised land is going to be a bumpy ride, because a whole lot of things are going to transpire going over to this promised land. But we're going to look at 6. It says, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom. Not everybody. He is not talking to everyone. That's another thing that we have to clear up. He's talking to Levi. He's not talking to Gad and Simeon and Reuben and Naphtali and Judah. And all. He's talking to Levi. Therefore, keep therefore and do them. This is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. What nations? Gad, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah. All the nations that are around us. All these other nations. Because we're all 12 nations. These know you are the Levites, because why? You are the ones that's going to show the wisdom and the understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, number 1, the children of Israel, the house of Israel, the Levites, knew that no one would hear the word of God but them. And God made that law that you had to be certain generations before you could even enter in to hear the laws and the statutes and the commandments. Before he'd even come down, you had to clean the camp out if something wasn't right in the camp where God was coming to the temple to speak. So we know that when he says for verse 7, and verse 6, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, the other 11, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. That's what your own brother said about you. Okay? For what nation is there so great? In other words, here's 12 of us. Levi, you were told by Moses that you're a great nation. Look out amongst you. Look at the other ones. You don't even hear anything about them. You don't hear nothing about Gad and Reuben and Simeon and Levi. And you hear a little, Gad and Reuben and Simeon and Joseph. And they have short little stories in here. You're talked about all the time. Every chapter of almost every book is about you. The great nation, Levi. But the other nations, they're just the people of Israel. Oh boy, they probably ready. They're already typing. Okay, but anyway, we're gonna keep on going. For that nation, for what nation is there so great who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord your God is in all things that we call upon him for? So we know this is Levi he's talking to, because no one can call upon the Lord but Levi. Okay? And what nation is there so great? Well, let me clear this up for the other ones. The king, Judah could call on him. The king, Judah could. But Levi is the only ones of the tribe that is called apart and set apart to call on God. And what nation is there so great that have statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day? So Moses is asking, name me one. Did he tell Naphtali that he would be greater than you because I'm going to give the statutes and judgments to him? No, you are the one that keep the statutes and the judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day. Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eye have seen, and lest thou depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons. So now, Aaron, Jacob, teach your sons and your sons and your sons, because you are the house of Israel. You are the temple keepers. You are the ones that are here when God comes down to the congregational seat. You've seen all these great things. You've seen God's mighty hand when the staff was stretched out and the waters were part. You've seen, because Aaron himself stood by Moses as he threatened Pharaoh with the plagues and the things that was going to happen to him. So in Aaron, you've all seen these great things. Even with your eye, you've seen things. So don't forget these things. Verse 10, especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb, when the Lord said unto me, gather me the people of Israel. You'll get it as we go on. Gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. Are you getting it? See, Moses has already talked to the house of Levi and told them, and they are to teach their sons and their sons. Now we're going to call the people forth. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Gad, Asher, all of them. I ain't going to name them all, but y'all know who we're talking about. Bring the people forth. And now they're going to teach their children. All right? Are you following me? Hope so. Because I ain't going to answer all your questions. You know that. So don't waste your time typing. And ye came near and stood under the mountain. And the mountain burned with fire unto the midst of heaven, with darkness, clouds and thick darkness. And the Lord spake unto you out of the midst of the fire, and ye heard the voice of the words, but saw no similitude. Meaning, God spoke when the people stood there at the mount, and we were all gathered. He didn't show his body. He didn't show a form. He just spoke out of the cloud. Only ye heard a voice. 13. And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even 10 commandments, and he wrote them upon tablets of stone. 14. And the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments. Who are you? Who is me, first of all? Moses. Who is you? Levi. He's teaching you statutes and judgments, that ye might do them in the law, whether ye go over to possess it, in the land, whether ye go over to possess it. 15. Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of similitude on the day that the Lord spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire. So he's telling them, don't forget all these things that God did. It's up to you to keep these statutes, these laws, and these commandments. It's up to you. You, Levi, you're going to be the one that goes out and talks to the people and tell the people what thus saith the Lord. You are that nation unto me. There's no other one greater. I got Judah with my kings coming out of it. They're not greater than you. And I've got Joseph's tribe. They're not greater than you. So remember these things. Don't forget them. Teach them to your sons and 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 your sons. And your sons. Verse 25. We're going to go to, let's go to Numbers chapter 25. And Israel abode in Shemet, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. We love doing that. That's the number one thing. That's our number one problem. Committing whoredom. Verse 2. And they called the people unto the sacrifice of their God, and the people did eat and bowed down there to their gods. And Israel joined himself unto Baal-Sphar, and the angel of the Lord, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. So you do know what I'm saying. They made God extremely angry by doing this sin because they knew better. Verse 4. And the Lord said unto Moses, take all the heads of the people and hang them up. Hang them up before the Lord against the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may be turned away from Israel. And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay ye every one his man that were joined unto Baal-Sphar. And behold, verse 6, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianitish woman, in the sight of Moses. Now let's stop right here. Y'all got to get the picture set up. You got all this going on in the midst of Israel, and this man who knew better brought a dog out before the people, before Moses, before the presence of God, before the Levites, while they're in mourning over what's taking place. He brings out a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. How dare he? Oh, but let's keep it going. See, God gonna show y'all. Y'all ain't ready to go home. Y'all ain't ready to go nowhere because your life ain't right. But let me show you what the man of Levi did.